Hey guys, and welcome to Cultured Boys, a series or podcast where two guys just want to chat about stuff. I'm Nathan, and as always, I'm joined by Pepe. And this week, we're going to talk about Blue Box, one of the newer mangas out at the moment. How you doing, Pepe?
I'm good, mate. I'm very well, thank you. I'm good to dive into this. Technically, so is this a manga review? This is it's a weird one, is it?
Yeah, I guess so. A manga review in somewhat. We do these from time to time, just to let people know what we thought of some of the new stuff in Jump.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's as Nathan just mentioned. It's a new series in Jump. Like started in April, I believe. So it's had fair few chapters out, for like 18 at the time of this record. But yeah, it's a weird crossover. It's a romance slash sport manga. It's a very interesting combination of genres. But yeah, like it's one of those ones. It's gonna be your cup of tea, or it really isn't.
I think that's because it's like slice of lifey, and that's at least the sort of typical or like market for Jump. Slice of life might not always be their thing because shonen is supposed to be like what like 11 to 17-year-old boys.
It's one of those ones, like I feel like with Jumps, like the content that they have in there. Usually you have your big hitters like your One Piece, your My Heroes, your Black Clovers. You're all like very much shonen battle. Like you always have those box stickers. But
Yeah,
like I feel there's always like a comedy series. There's always like a romance one going on. There's always like a weird slice of life sort of one going on, a sport
and
one.
a weird etchy one that
Yeah,
somehow stays in for way longer than anyone would expect.
I think that's the thing with Jump. Like they always try and like cover a few bases, just so you're not just getting the hard like battle manga all the time, which is good, really. Like I feel like it is like they need like variation. Otherwise, you're just gonna get a whole fucking magazine full of fighting people, and more like the popular ones are gonna like there's gonna be even more of a clear difference which ones are popular, which ones aren't. Like, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, Blue Box or Aono Hako, if you want to say the Japanese thing, like whatever. Yeah. So, Nate, you read the first three chapters of it?
Yes, I read them literally an hour before recording. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I actually quite enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
think I might have to read the rest, like the other 15 chapters, like to get up to date.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Surprisingly, I enjoyed it. I don't normally like slice of life, but I think it's the sports aspect that got me most, especially
Mm-hmm.
because the main character Taiki Inamata, he he plays badminton, and that's not a sport you see often in manga.
Mm.
And also because I used to play badminton in school, so it feels kind of like relatable to me.
Yeah, it is definitely like one that like caught me off guard. Like the fact that like he plays badminton and the love interest. Is it? You've got it written now. It's Chie. I've got Chie in my mind, but I feel like it was Chinatsu. Chinatsu.
Chinatsu Kana.
Chinatsu Kana. Yes, that's the one. So those are the two main characters. You got Taiki and Chinatsu. So Taiki plays badminton and Chinatsu plays basketball. She's a year older than him, so she's in the year above him as well. It's
Yeah,
worth mentioning.
they go to a combined junior high school. Taiki is a third year in junior high, and Chinatsu is a first year in high school.
hmm But yeah, it's like it's as you said though with the badminton stuff. It's not something you see often at all in a manga, and it's really cool actually. It's good to see.
I mean, there's
Uh,
literally only one other badminton manga I know of.
there's another
Called
one.
Hunt. Yeah, it was called. I was gonna start it years and years ago.
Yeah.
But I never got around to it. It was called Hanebado.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it was another badminton series.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't think it was in Jump, but I think it was in another magazine. But
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was another badminton manga. So
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Did not know these existed. I think we mentioned it in like our like Dead series chat, didn't we? That like we want to see like different kinds of sport manga come through,
yeah,
and it's one of those badminton isn't a regular one you do see. I remember reading a manga. I can't remember what it's called now. It was in Jump like about God 3, 4, 5 years ago. I can't remember, but it was a dancing manga. Like it was a ballroom dancing manga.
Oh, I remember. I don't know the name. I know what you're talking
You
about
know,
though.
the guy that did Shudan. Yeah, he was the mangaka of that beforehand. So he did the ballroom manga before he did Shudan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember.
It's
Yeah,
like Welcome
I
to
know what you're
Something
talking
High's
about.
like dance club or something. I feel like that was the name of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good series. It's a shame that it ended. I probably could have mentioned that in the Dead Mangas chat actually, but we're not talking about that now. We're talking about Ano Hako, or Blue Box. I'm just gonna
Yes.
keep referring to both of their names, whatever you fancy.
Multicultural. We're multicultural here. We are called Cultured Boys, spreading that culture.
We are the multicultural boys.
Technically are, yes.
we can put a new logo on somewhere. That and maybe like chuck some more extra color. That's our spin. That's our second channel, the multicultural boys.
Where we poorly translate our own videos.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my
machine
god.
Translate, not even like proper translate, because we don't speak another language properly. We just put it through Google Translate, and it sounds stupid.
Cultured boys in Espanol.
Me gusta manga.
Oh my god, we're getting so off track right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, Blue Box. Yeah, combination of sport, romancy sort of thing. I read the 3 chapters. No, me and Nathan, we discussed this before. We were going to just read the 3 chapters and just be like, yeah, let's talk about that on this thing. But
And then Pepe got into it and read all 18.
I read all 18 chapters of Blue Box because I got really into it last night. It was at 1:30 in the morning, and I was like, I should probably read this manga before we do this discussion. And I was like 3 chapters in, I was like, ooh, that's kind of left it on a cliffhanger, you know. I want to read the next one. So I found the site and read the rest of them. I'm not, like, obviously support the Manga Plus app.
Support the official
release. But if you find a way to read extra chapters,
I just want to say don't be surprised if what we're saying now doesn't make sense, because redacted happened.
yes,
Bleep.
redacted.
I found a beep.
this site, it's fantastic. It's got no.
Oh yeah, I read the rest of it. I found a bleep.
I won't mention the site. Anyway, I read the rest of the series. And it is really good. I think I'm definitely going to continue on with this afterwards. Should we go into a bit more of the plot, because I feel like we only touched on a little bit of it.
Yes. Okay. So we already mentioned they go to a combined junior high school, but it's also mentioned within the first chapter that school has a very strong sports program. So pretty much most, if not all, of the students are probably in some sort of sports club. So a lot of this is going to be around them training and doing club activities at various times of the day. As far as I know, you don't actually see any of the normal class, but that's not important.
No,
So
you're mainly focusing on the club activities in this thing, and for some reason, all the club activities kind of take place in this one school hall as well. It's not like there's multiple school halls. There's all these sports going on in one place half the time. So
yeah, it's really weird because the basketball team are practicing the same time that the badminton team is practicing, and they're using half the hall each. But I'm like, are these clubs just not that big, despite being in a school that is 2 schools, right?
Yeah.
And also has a strong sports program? You'd think there'd be multiple locations.
That's exactly. It's absolute chaos going on right now in this in this school, because what was it? There's another character called Hina Chono, and she is a
rhythmic dancer, isn't it?
Yeah, she's on the rhythmic gymnastics team.
Gymnastics, that was it.
And in some of the chapters further past, all 3 of these sports are going on at the same time.
I figured they were going on at the same time because even in the first 3 chapters, she often just appears in the same gymnasium, and you're like, where are these people practicing? Was she off in the corner or something? How are you doing gymnastics at the same time the basketball team are playing and the badminton are playing? Where are all these people, and how big is this hall?
It's one of those ones like surely like if you're playing badminton and basketball, the rhythmic gymnastics is really going to put you off because there's just random music going off in the background with like because that's what you're going to be doing, right? Rhythmic
Yeah.
gymnastics is based on music, it's gymnastics with music
Well,
on it,
and
right?
also vice versa, right? Surely you wouldn't want to do your rhythmic gymnastic practice whilst all you can hear is like the squeaking of trainers from both sports, right?
Yeah.
Because surely that'd throw you off as well.
It's exactly it's like a logistics nightmare. Like
And
this
that's
is
just three of the sports we mentioned. God knows how many more are practicing in the same hall. Like, what if fucking like the football team, or, like English football, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
what they're practicing like in the other corner or something, and fucking who
Yeah.
knows what other sports are going on in that hall?
Oh,
Jesus.
what a mess. But logistics aside, the plot of this is basically I was gonna say Taika. It's not Taika. It's Taiki. It might be Taiko, but it would go like Taiko no Tatsujin sort of thing. It might change
Yes,
throughout this
he's
episode.
part of the famous sport, the Taiko team.
I'll join the fucking Taiko team.
I mean, they are called teams, but I don't think it's a sport.
No. Oh no. You can make anything a sport if you put your mind to it. So Taiki, he's like basically he's infatuated with Chinatsu. So because like he's seen her practicing and stuff, and like she goes to practice every morning, like she's like the first one there.
And he
Um
practices every morning. He's the first one there.
exactly. And like so he's like he sort of catches like she kind of catches his eye a little bit, so he starts like liking her. Like he sort of like wants to make his move. So she kind of like low-key inspires him to like actually be good at badminton. So he actually like he's like a pretty shit badminton player at the start of the manga.
Yeah, they mention it a couple of times that if it was ranked, he was like the lowest. He's the bottom of the table, and his friend on the badminton team, Kyo Kasahara, often brings him down. That guy is a bummer.
Yeah, he's like that
Like,
friend that's like, why are you my friend?
yeah, pretty much. Like within the first chapter, he's like talking like, "Oh, I want to marry her," and he's like, "How you gonna get married? Huh? She's amazing. She's like a top level athlete, and you're average. How you gonna marry her? Huh?
Right, bro.
Come down from the clouds."
So the opposite of a wingman.
Literally.
But they're like so he's like pretty like bottom tier, but like she kind of inspires him to actually do better. And like he like starts practicing a lot more. He puts the work in, and like slowly as the manga progresses, he actually gets like to be a better badminton player. He doesn't like it's obviously training in that, and it is a lot of practice. So you do see his progress. It's not like oh he's number one on the team now. Like he's
I
not.
mean, even within the three chapters I read, towards the end of the third chapter, they already are like, "Hey, you're gonna be a student at high school, right? The coach has put in a good word for you. He says you could compete on a high school level." So
Mm.
like, there's already like they put the seeds of that progression in.
Yeah. So he's like there is a progression going on. You do see like him put the hard work in, which is great.
Yeah,
So
he
you
does
got
that thing that like a lot of the sports mangas that try to make the character look serious do. You know, because at one point he's like, "Yeah, I got someone to record me playing so that I could watch it back." And then like Chinatsu's like, "I want to see," and he's like, "It's embarrassing. Please don't."
yeah.
And she's like, "Shut up."
There's another major plot point that I think we haven't mentioned yet. Is that so
Oh yeah,
Chinatsu's mother and Taiki's mother, they both used to be on the same basketball team as well.
they both played for that school's basketball team.
Yeah,
They're
so
alumni of that school.
they like kind of knew each other quite well, and like Taiki finds out that Chinatsu might be moving away to America, like because the family's moving abroad or whatever. I think it's America. I just assume it's America.
It just says abroad. At least from what I read, it said abroad. He then goes and does like an impassioned speech because he had a talk with her the day before or something, and reminded her of like, "Oh yeah, in junior high, I remember I saw you. You was crying. You was practicing because you just missed out on nationals. I think you should go to nationals this time before you move, because you just have to do it. You know, like before you leave, you got to get to the top and achieve your dream." And then sitcom essentially kind of happens, and she's like, "I'm not moving. I'm gonna stay here because you reminded me. I'm gonna live at a friend's house, a family friend's house." And then basically he comes home and she's at his house and his mom's like, "Oh, this is Chinatsu. I was on the same team as a mum. She's living with us."
Yeah. So that's like that's the next like major like plot point in this is that like yeah it's a good sports manga, it's a good romance thing, but it's obviously like she's moved into his house now, and that's like where the next like big kind of plot twist is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
because he's infatuated with her, but he hasn't actually told her. So as she's oblivious, she doesn't know. She's just being somewhat like she kind of seems like she's into him, but like maybe not quite like that just yet. At least within the first 3 chapters, it seems like there's something going on, but maybe she's trying to figure it out. I don't know.
it's kind of like hinted and like it's like sort of like there's little panels where you're like, oh, does she not? Like it's very it's not like straight up, oh yeah, she likes him. It kind of teases you a little bit, like
Yeah,
is
it's a
that
little suspenseful. It's like, will they? Won't they?
yeah,
Oh
it's
my
it's the
god.
will they, won't they? And then obviously you have Hina as well, who
Yeah.
like there's a kind of sense of a love triangle thing going on there as well. Does she like Taiki and like there's that sort of thing
Yeah,
going
because she
on?
appears a lot and she like has conversations with him and she tries to help him out, but there's a couple of panels like you said before where like she's like looking or something, or she'll say
Mm,
something and you're like, oh, she likes him.
yeah,
She's trying to help out, but like I think it's one of those where she probably wants to be almost like a childhood friend kind of thing.
yeah.
Like, like I've always liked you, but you never noticed me, but I didn't want to ruin our friendship
Mm.
kind of thing.
She's like the opposite of his best mate, who's a shit wingman. Like she's a better wingman than his
Yeah.
best friend is.
He's not a wingman. He's a fucking sniper. Whilst Taiki's like flying up, he's like got his like laser sight trained on his
Mm.
wings. He's shooting that fucker down like straight away.
The good thing is the good thing I do like about Taiki is though like he is like he's one of those characters that has a really good like positive mental attitude. You know what I mean? Like he like his friends like always shooting him down like, oh no, you should like not, you shouldn't do
I
this,
don't
and then
want to
he's
burst
like
your bubble, but that's just shonen pro tag.
no, but
He's
like
just like hopelessly optimistic. It feels like, and I'm like, oh, yeah, he's a shonen pro tag, so it makes sense.
it's like sort of like a bit more to like I don't know motivational level. Though, do you not think? Like he's always it's like those one lines that you see on Tumblr images. It's like oh you miss all the shots that you don't take or
Yeah, you
something like
miss
that.
100% of the shots you don't take.
It's like he just spits out motivation like that, like almost like every other chapter.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. He's like more in depth than a regular shonen pro tag, but I feel like
Yeah.
most shonen pro tags are always just like happy go lucky and like, all right, we'll work out because
Yeah.
it always works out. And I'm just gonna be my best and train.
Mm,
And again, I mean, it is a shonen, so there will be some of those tropes,
yeah.
but it's not that bad, and it's really like not in your face
No,
about it.
it's not like fairy tale where it's like power of friendship or something like that. Like it's not.
It's my resolve.
Yeah, it's like it's not like It's not like overly cheesy with that, which is good. I did like that sort of thing.
Yeah. Also, it's not like we're not ragging on these series, but like it's also not like a Kuroko no Basket, where he's got a fucking special power that no one else has.
Yeah.
He's so unimpressive, we don't even see him.
No, it's not that bad. Oh man! Like as you can tell, I read the whole freaking series.
I'm not surprised, like when I read it, it's somewhere in the back of my mind. I was like, this is a Pepe series. He's gonna love this. This is totally something you would read.
I do like the romance slice of life series, and it's a weird like amalgamation of like I don't know a lot of different genres in this.
It is. And like again, like I said at the start of the recording, like I'm surprised that I liked it too. I think the sports is actually pretty good, and there is like it is the art's pretty good too. So like when it does do like some of those like action scenes, like when Taiki's like practicing or something, there's some cool speed lines and stuff, like so me personally, I'm probably am gonna try and find a way to continue. I do kind of want to keep up with this. I can see myself maybe at times dipping out every now and again because it might get too slice of lifey for me.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, it is quite a good series. I do recommend it. I mean, easily it we both recommend it because like we wouldn't be gushing like
Yeah.
as much as we have.
I think it's one of those ones like it feels different to like a typical romance, typical sport, like those sort of ones. Like, because it's like so unique in its weird genre mix and matching. Like that, I think that's why it makes it like that much more readable in the fact that it's just so different.
I think it's because it does that like that almost like TV thing where there's like an A-B story. There's like the
Yeah.
main story where he has to deal with his love life and it's the will they won't they the relationship, but then there's also the sports, like the other thing that they're doing to raise themselves up, and it's almost like a loving rivalry almost, like he inspires her and she inspires him, and like they'll rise through the ranks and shenanigans and
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I know what you mean. It's
Again, it's a sports like sitcom-y, rom-com-y kind of
mm,
like Pepe said, it's a lot of genres. You could put so many labels on it, but ultimately it actually works. Sometimes when you try to mix too many things together and it's just like, it's not cohesive. It
yeah.
just doesn't make sense. This is actually pretty good.
It's got a good balance of it. It's got a really good balance of like all the different sports. Because like one week it might be like more focused on like him trying to like focus on his like nationals like journey. Like, I really want to train and do this well. And like, don't get me wrong, it's like the romance isn't taken out of it completely. You do get the odd glances from like Chinatsu, just like, oh, he's doing things or whatever. Or like Hina will have like a, is it Hina? Hannah? I don't
Yeah,
know.
Hina.
Yeah, Hina. She'll have like her own like special chapters here and there. There'll be there's like characters introduced later on which kind of spice things up a little bit. Like, so the first three chapters are very much focused on Taiki, Chinatsu, and Hina. But like more characters do get introduced. Like, so you get like some of the senpais come in from the badminton team and stuff. Like, so there's other bits that are really good. Like,
Oh, badminton senpai.
badminton senpai. But no, like, yeah, I'd highly recommend this. I think it's a really good manga to get into. It's one of those ones I don't think it'll get an anime. I feel like it's one of those ones like, I don't know if you know them, Nathan. Like they get like special like live action TV
Oh
series.
yeah, that's gonna be one of those, isn't it? Yeah, now that you said it, I can see that.
This screams live action TV to me, or like some sort of like drama CD, like a sort of like gets into
Yeah.
that.
No, you're completely right. This will definitely be a live action.
It works so well with that, like that
It
thing.
does. And it'd probably be easier to set up some of the shots
Mm.
like with a real person, and then it can try and convey that same sort of expression or whatever. Like, yeah, you're right. An anime wouldn't do it justice. Especially I think because also it's like there's so many sports. So it might just be easier to have people actually play their sports
Yeah.
instead of trying to animate like, oh, there's the gymnastics team over there, and there's badminton, here's basketball, and then there's fucking track and field also inside for some reason, or
Track and
whatever the
field
fuck.
inside.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just every sport is inside.
Yeah, it makes more sense to do that. I don't know how many of these live action things you've watched as well, Nathan.
Barely any. I don't. I think that's probably because most of the live action things end up on Netflix, or it's the Netflix adaptation, which everyone in the internet knows hasn't got the best rep.
Mate, to be honest, a lot of the live actions are quite questionable. To be fair, like I think some of the live action like anime manga dramas, they are quite good, but I don't know. I also feel like they're not like the most well acted at the same time. Maybe I'm biased. I might be biased ones I've seen. But yeah, Blue Box, I can totally see that working as a live action over
Yeah,
anime.
I think it would benefit more from a live action.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's because, like you said, it's a bit more of like almost like a standard drama. Like you could see it being just a normal TV show rather than like, oh, it came from a manga.
Yeah, definitely. Like it works like that way. I think it would definitely get picked up like that in Japan. But I'd like to see where the series goes in general. Like I think it works really well. I'd say definitely read more of it, Nathan. Like I feel.
Oh, I intend to. Is
Yeah.
it doing well in like the rankings? Can you
So it kind of fluctuates a bit,
I guess that makes sense.
For those who don't know, the Weekly Jump show, table of contents, like the higher you're up in it, it's worth saying that that's how well a series is doing. So One Piece is always like in the first top like 3 in the table of contents at least. And you got like stuff like Doctor Stone, My Hero Academia, like Jujutsu Kaisen, Black Clover, which are always towards the top. And it's fair to say that the newer series are usually towards
Somewhere
the
in the
bottom,
middle.
or bottom. Yeah, you're right. So speaking of that, you've got Blue Box sort of around the middle of the table of contents.
That's not bad though. Like middle's not bad at all.
Yeah, like sometimes it has had like a few rough weeks where it's like sort of towards the bottom, but like I don't know, it depends. Like it depends what else is going on in that issue though, because like the same week that Blue Boxes was towards the bottom, Black Clover was in the middle. There's a few new ones like Jujutsu Kaisen's at the top. Mashal had a color page. Those sort of things. So it's hard to tell like how well it's doing right now. 'Cause again, it's 20 chapters in. I don't think it's gonna get cancelled anytime soon either.
It doesn't seem like it. I don't know. I think as long as it's not too far to the bottom and hasn't been in the bottom too many times, I think it'll be fine.
Let's put it this way: Candy Flurry, aka Ameno Furu, is constantly at the bottom. Let's put it that
Also,
way.
from the last chapter that I read, a lot of people seem to think it's getting axed soon, which is a shame. I actually kind of enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, but pretty much if you're into Candy Flurry, read the latest chapter.
Mm.
The big bad came up real quick. Let's
Oh,
just say.
okay, fair. It's a shame that it's like dwindled like that, but it's a typical weekly jump
Again,
thing.
this is just what me and other fans have speculated. But you know, like normally, if the big bad comes up that early, it either means they're cancelled or the writer's rushing to give you a reason to read again.
Yeah.
But after Phantom Seer did the same thing, I can't see it going well.
Yeah.
After Demon Slayer, like as soon as like Muzan started appearing more, you're like, okay, well, here we go. You know what I mean? Like it's when the big bad turns up too early, it's a clear sign that it's probably going to end.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, any Candy Flurry fans out there, it's a shame. But it looks like your
Yeah.
series might be getting axed.
That's another one to add to my dead manga list.
Did it end too early though?
I felt so. I felt like it could have done a bit more, but there you go.
That is what it is. Okay, fair. But yeah, anything else you have to say on Blue Box, Nathan?
Not that I can think that I haven't already said. Again, I've read very little of it because Manga Plus you can either read the first 3 chapters or the latest 4, I believe.
Yeah.
But that means you're at the moment you're going from like chapter 3 and then skipping to like 16.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not helpful. But I would definitely recommend it. I've said it many a time and I'll probably end up saying it many more times. Not a fan of Slice of Life, but I actually did kind of enjoy this one and I'm going to continue reading it. So please do give it a go. This might be the one to change your mind like it sort of changed mine.
Yeah, and as a Slice of Life fan, as a sports manga fan, as a rom-com fan, I think it's definitely worth checking out as well. It's great. I'd recommend it. There's still like less than 20 chapters of it so far, so if you want to get into it, I think now is probably the best time.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get into. You haven't got too much to read. There's nothing stopping you. It's there's no excuse by this point because you can't be like, oh, it's got too many chapters.
It's a very easy read as well. I found that there's some mangas that overcomplicate things so much. Like loads of text boxes or whatever, but no, this has got a perfect balance of everything, I'd say.
Yeah, I went through the first 3 chapters pretty quickly. Every time I got to the end of a chapter, I was like, oh, it's over already.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Like, especially like the first chapter, because like the first chapters usually have about 50 pages, don't they?
Yeah.
And that felt rapid, like reading that.
Yeah, I felt like I got through that pretty quick.
Yeah. But yeah, both I say check it out. So you got the Cultured Boys review right there. Check it out.
Well then, so thanks for listening. Check us out on podcast platforms. And don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, leave us a comment on series that you like that maybe we should check out or what you think about Blue Box. Hit that bell button so you get notified when our new video comes out. And we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.